The Syrian army is making rapid advances against the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces towards the SDF stronghold of Raqqa. Government troops say they've now captured the northern town of Tabqa and taken control of the Euphrates Dam. We're getting reports of heavy clashes between both sides. Syrian state media says the SDF has been using drones in areas east of Deir. Al Jazeera's Ayman is there.
I don't know if you can hear the sound of shelling. We have been hearing this continuous shelling for the past 10 minutes. This is the exchange of fire between the government forces and SDF. It was very loud and it can be heard across the city of Deir. We can see bright flashes illuminating the night sky. Tribal forces aligned with the government have just announced that they are clashing with SDF forces in multiple locations in the province.
So let's bring in Ayman Oghanna. He's in the Syrian capital, Damascus. Ayman, so the Syrian army is clearly making rapid progress towards Raqqa, taking the town of Tabqa along the way. Bring us up to date then with what's happening on the ground and why Tabqa is so important.
Well, that's right. The Syrian government forces have been moving very quickly from Aleppo province now into Raqqa province. They've taken the town of Tabqa, which is a strategically important town for a number of reasons. One, it has the Euphrates' biggest dam in Syria. Two, it has a military airfield, which the government now controls and said was a PKK fighter stronghold. Three, it's very important because it was an SDF stronghold, and by taking it this quickly shows that the SDF can lose ground to the government very fast indeed. But perhaps most importantly, Tabqa is the gateway to Raqqa. So now that the SDF are out of there, government forces are on the verge of stepping up their possible confrontation and attack on Raqqa. Raqqa is an important city in Syria. Kurdish-led SDF forces have imposed a curfew on Raqqa because Raqqa, although it's in Kurdish-controlled territory, is not a Kurdish majority city. It's an Arab city, and the Kurdish-led forces' curfew in Raqqa may be to prevent some sort of insurrection by Arab residents against the SDF, as we've seen in Deir with tribal fighters aligned with the government taking on SDF and saying that they'll give territory they take to Syrian government forces. So all this is happening very quickly. It's been a lightning move. In just over 10 days, Syrian government forces have captured the whole city of Aleppo, the whole province of Aleppo, and are now moving in on Raqqa.
So given the tactical situation on the ground, Ayman, what does this all mean then for the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces? As you say, they're retreating on all fronts. It was only a few days ago they lost the key city of Aleppo.
Well, exactly. It's not looking great for the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces or SDF. They're losing territory very, very quickly to government forces. They also have dissent in their ranks. We call them the Kurdish-led SDF, and they are indeed Kurdish-led. Kurdish fighters only comprise about 30% of SDF fighters, and there has been dissent in the ranks. The majority of SDF fighters are Arab. And we've seen defections. Yesterday in Aleppo province, 181 SDF fighters defected to the government side. And the government is keen to encourage more defectors. Just this morning on our mobiles across Syria, we got text messages saying that people aligned with the SDF should defect to the government side for a united Syria. So not pretty poor showing of military performance for the SDF as well. The SDF are used to fighting counter-terrorism operations, which they've done so alongside the United States. But now they're fighting the Syrian government without American air power and without American forces by their side. And many think the writing is on the wall for the territory the SDF controls and enjoys autonomy over.
All right, Ayman, stay with us, won't you? Because the SDF has released a statement addressing ISIL prisoners within the city of Raqqa as government forces close in. The group says the autonomous administration particularly warns of the imminent danger to the ISIL detainee prison in the city of Raqqa. The continued attacks and military escalation in the surrounding area may destabilise the security situation of the prison, posing a real threat of reactivating the terrorist group's cells. This would have catastrophic consequences, not only for North and East Syria, but also for Syria, the region and the entire world. Ayman, so then how significant is that statement from the SDF about those ISIL prisoners? And are they a genuine, real threat to Syria's overall security if the city of Raqqa were to fall?
Yes, I think ISIL present not just a threat to Syria, but indeed the region and perhaps further beyond. The fighting between the government and the SDF creates an opportunity, a space for ISIL. And if those prisoners, there are thousands of them, are released, they could regroup and cause more attacks on Syrians and other people. Now, the ISIL presence in Syria has declined greatly since the defeat of their so-called caliphate in 2019, but the threat remains. On December 13th, there was an ISIL attack on 3 Americans, killing 3 Americans, 2 servicemen and 1 translator. Now that led to a massive US operation of more than 70 strikes on ISIL targets across the country. But you can't just bomb away a problem like ISIS. You need local forces on the ground, and the Syrian Democratic Forces, the SDF, and the Damascus government have been a key to that strategy of fighting on the ground against ISIL positions. But now that the two are in conflict, it's very worrying for the counter-terrorism efforts in Syria, which is why both the US and France have said in statements that the fighting between the government and the SDF should stop, and the two should remain as partners in the battle against ISIL in Syria.
All right, Ayman Oghanna, they're live for us in the Syrian capital, Damascus. Ayman, thank you.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.